Hey guys, it's Joey and this is the Ogham Witchy vlog for Uilleand or Honeysuckle, my week with this Ogham. So just to quickly recap on the meanings, happiness, reaching out to attain one's desires, the labyrinth of inner knowledge, sometimes revelations, secrets, the influence of the subtle and seemingly insignificant, meaning that it has a larger effect than you may have expected. So, a quote from the very early beginning of the week, weeds are flowers too when you get to know them, A.A. Milne. So at the beginning of the week I went to the village green where the crows really nest. I went for willow branches and I knew there were going to be spiritual messages. There were full, plump, large crow feathers on my path, and the crows called out over and over and over again in greeting and to bring my attention to the situation. Quite often when you go to the green, the feathers aren't quite so full and plump, and they were directly on my path, so I took that to be a sign. And true enough, as I was walking around the green, on one side was a huge whole bird's nest, totally intact, no eggs or anything smashed or anywhere near it. It was as if the whole nest had fallen straight down from the tree above it, and this thing was huge. I can't even think how I would give. It was about like the size of the bathroom sink type huge, and if I'd have had any other way of bringing some of it back with me I would have done, but I only had my little handbag on me and I decided to leave it anyway. And as I walked around to the other side of the green, there was a whole dead pigeon rotting. It's kind of gross, but it was whole, the whole thing, like it had just fallen out of the sky. If that's not the connection of birth and death, rebirth and the cycles, I don't know what is. As I walked home I was followed by crows every few feet on a route home. It's not unusual for me to be followed by crows. But this was a lot of them, and this was like every few steps, and it was drawing my attention. Since that point I had been plagued by all the old issues. Things that have bothered me and got to me too much in the past. Nadia and I talked about it, and she told me that I need to focus on the decent people, the people that make me happy, even if they're few, and perhaps hunt out new friends. I was on my period this week, which doesn't really help. I get a bit crotchety when I'm sure the ladies understand. But I've been feeling quite disconnected. I reset up my fox altar, the altar of me, the totem altar, to help me reconnect to self. I went through with 2 acts of kindness and giving things away for charity, and to take a book on green witch rituals to the lady in Holistic Fields for her friend, without asking anything for it obviously or anything like that. I cannot and will not be defined by these materialistic bullshit rules of the dog-eat-dog society. Important this week was lime essential oil, rhodonite, thulite, raspberry aventurine. I picked up some amber incense for knowledge and history, good for meditations where you're seeking to discover information, past life regression, divination, etc. Lotus for mental clarity, increased focus and heightened intelligence. Meditation, air, symbol of life, spirituality, the universe, burned for protection and sacred offerings to the gods. Lime essential oil, used for love recipes, luck charms, or worn for luck, used in the home for protection, as well as cleaning and purification. Strengthens spiritual warriors in the eternal fight against evil. Thulite, here, for survivors of abuse, strengthening, regenerational, stimulates the self-esteem, especially when self-esteem has been brought low by others. Raspberry aventurine, here, helps us see alternatives and possibilities in life, reduce negative thoughts, and increases a positive attitude. Okay. So a few quotes. To be a witch is to be a healer, a teacher, a seeker, a guide, a giver, and above all, a protector of all things. The path is yours, may you walk it with honour, light and integrity into the grey mist. I aspire to be a giver of love, a giver of good vibes, and a giver of strength. Author unknown. It can take enormous courage to let go of the things that hurt us. Sue Fitzmaurice. A world without wildness is a world beyond our capacity to heal. Underneath our lives, with their veneer of control and predictability, a deep, profound truth still resonates in us. By some grace, our souls still whisper to us of our wilderness still calls to us, and it is up to us whether or not we listen. There is a season for wildness and a season for settledness, and this is neither. This season is about becoming. All good things are wild and free. We are wilderness. I also noticed a scorpion on the Lover's card in Penny Dreadful, which harkens back to the messages of last week. I've been engaging a lot this week with banishing. Banishing what no longer serves, using the Ogham in this practice, expanding my magical practice to include a lot more Ogham work within magical rites of banishing negative energies as well as encouraging positive energies. And that's why the smoky quartz is in the shop. I really adore it for transmuting of negativity into positivity. Okay, magic exists, who can doubt it, when there are rainbows and wildflowers, the music of the wind and the silence of the stars. Nora Roberts. To be beautiful means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others, you need to accept yourself. Into the grey mist. And then there is the protection sort of standing stones that I created as a spell. The pull to you is wild and unyielding. Your embrace is my most treasured feeling, full of wonder and the power to heal. You awaken my senses and heart to heal. My soul forever to you I entrust. I honour you in perfect love, in perfect trust. Tiffany Gaze, Southern Hemisphere Pagan. At one time in the world there were woods that no one owned. Cormac McCarthy. There are two kinds of people in the world, givers and takers. The takers might eat better, but the givers sleep better. Rebel Circus. And then a quote from me, 2014, all rights reserved. The wild places of the world were never meant to be owned, tamed, trimmed, sanitized. Nor is the wild place within each of us. Embrace it and run free. So I went and visited my sister this week, so I spent time with family this week, which was lovely. This week on the whole has felt a little bit slow and even draining. Partner had been off sick, and there had been situations which I felt that I just didn't want anything to do with because of stress and things. So the beginning of the week was quite low on energy, period, migraines, even feeling disconnected. The fact there have been storms to me this week suggests change, death and rebirth is coming. It's not just here. It's not here just yet. I reconnected to my witchy self this week and started a new regime of Ogham focused banishing and protection. Next week I will aim to cleanse and heal myself with crystals even more so. The energy of this Ogham has been subtle but present. Getting back to the wild part of the self, the free part, the witchy part, to be a giver in the face of world, a society which encourages us to hate one another, call one another names, judge one another, especially when people don't get their own way, to keep walking with honour even if people are spitting at you. There have been a lot of bee imagery this week, as well as bees around in physicality. I had quite a few in the house and had to move them safely outside. And then from the oracle card from the Druid Animal Oracle deck, Bee invites us to celebrate. You may have a special reason for celebrating, or you may simply need to celebrate the wonder and mystery of being alive. In the Druid tradition, there are occasions to celebrate every 6 weeks or so. As human beings, we need times when we can come together to enjoy others' company. The bee tells us that we can live together in harmony, however impossible this may sometimes seem. By being at one with the natural world, by paying homage to the sun, by centering our lives around the spirit, or deity, or the goddess and god, we can work together in community. Celtic meanings: the sun, celebration, mead, messenger of the gods, symbol of the human soul. So I think it was really quite destined for me to have some time with my family and remember to celebrate that. And then the poem for this week, Joanne Morris, 2014, All Rights Reserved, is I am the embrace, to let love in your heart at slow steady pace. I am the open hand that helps form a bond, the small stone that ripples when dropped into the pond. So tread lightly and softly, to others be kind, lead by example, for then peace you will find. There's been a lot of dusty pink this week as well, as you can probably tell from the thing, and there's been an element of self-healing through self-love, of taking time away a little bit, and stepping away from situations which may cause you self-harm. There's been a lot of that. To step out, to step back, to only embrace what makes you happy, and people who've got your back no matter what, people who really truly know you for a long time, or maybe not that long, but have been there for you over and over again, people who love you for who you are. And there's been messages along the lines of you can't please anybody and everybody, and nor should you really try to. If people can't celebrate you for who you are and love you for who you are, and not sort of use you for whatever reason, or, you know, hurt you for whatever reason, you don't need to be engaging with people. It doesn't have to be an experience of negativity or hatred. It can just be stepping away, and that's perfectly acceptable, and there's nothing hateful about it. It's just what you need as a human being for healing of your own heart and soul. I've been encouraged this week to seek out a new community, a new friendship group, a new energy of people, and I've found it, and it's been a different group of people, and it has been the most eye-opening and real experience I've seen in a long time. There have been people talking about witchcraft in a whole different light in that group, and it's respectful, and it's for the most part balanced. I mean, not everybody is going to agree on things ever, just because that's people, you know. People hold their experiences dear, and they either, whether it's because of like an ego thing, or just because of the way they do it, they sort of hold that dear to their heart and can get into arguments with it, which is understandable, you know. It happens. It's unfortunate sometimes, but it happens. But this new group, this new community has really helped restore some of my faith in people, and it's interesting because they can, some of the opinions sometimes can come off as a little bit harsh sometimes, but there's never really a disrespect like I've seen other places, and that new community has really been an incredible experience so far. So yeah, so that was this past week. We're a day late because I went away on Saturday, but overall, many blessings.